Alrighty guys, welcome to Kinstretch this week. We are going to be continuing to cover these classes in segments or specific joints and specific topics. So today is going to be the hip. Last week we covered the shoulder. So all the different ways that the shoulder could move. We're going to look at that with the hip today. So the big things that we'll cover are hip cars in just a couple different positions. We will cover hip flexion and extension, internal and external rotation, as well as abduction and adduction. So really what we're trying to do, or what I'm trying to do, is just give you an idea of how to train your hip from all directions. And when you understand the positions that put the greatest amount of stress or tension on a specific element of hip movement, then whether you do pails, rails, passive range liftoffs, passive range holds, it doesn't really matter. You could do any of them from almost any of these different positions. So Kinstretch and FRC, if you will, is really about understanding what joint you are trying to isolate and train, what intensity are you trying to train it at, and then what do you need to make that happen in that particular position. So, once, just as an example, once you find a position that creates an external rotation stimulus for you, then you can train every type of external rotation from that position. So that's what we'll be doing today. I'm going to be really using the most basic positions, not necessarily any specially adapted positions. So if you need something to be modified, shoot us a text, let us know, or shoot us an email and we can help you modify it. All you'll need for class today are 2 towels, just nice to have either if it gets hot or if you need some extra padding for your knees, and 2 tennis balls so you have something to squeeze. So let's rock and roll. We'll do our cars from a standing position today, and then we'll get going from there. So here we go. Let's begin with the neck, holding tennis balls at your side, light grip, maybe 20% squeeze on the tennis balls. And let's bring chin to chest. Look to the right armpit, lean the right ear back, eyes up, look left, and over to the left armpit, down, chin to chest, reverse. Look to left armpit, left ear back, eyes up, right ear back, look to right armpit, and down to center. Number 2, same thing. And around, reverse. And number 3. And reverse. And next, mid-back or T-spine, arms across your chest. Fold forward, rotate that left shoulder towards the ground, right shoulder back towards your right back pocket. Center of your chest to the ceiling, left shoulder to back left pocket, right shoulder towards the floor, and center of chest towards the floor. Reverse, right shoulder towards the floor, left shoulder back left pocket, chest up to the ceiling, over to the right, left shoulder down, chest to center. 2 more. Big circles here. Squeeze your butt to keep your hips still, so that just the stuff on top of the hips will move. And again. Excuse me. All right, shoulder blades from here. I'll turn to the side just so you can see. Shrug, roll forward, drop down, pull back, shrug, forward, down, back, shrug, forward, down, back, reverse, forward, shrug, back, down, forward, shrug, back, down, forward, shrug, back, down. Left shoulder. I like my right hand behind my back personally. Left shoulder now, left arm across the midline. Bicep grazes cheek as you come to overhead position. From here, palm rotates forward and out, beginning internal rotation. Keep twisting your shoulder in that direction as you reach straight back behind you and come down to meet the thigh. When you meet the thigh, thumb should be pointed back behind you. Reverse, reach up and back. Turn the palm in and down, external rotation as you come to overhead and across. Let's do right shoulder across the midline. Bicep grazes cheek. Internal rotation, reach back behind you. Come down to meet the thigh, reverse. Number 2 on the left. Reverse. Number 2 right. Reverse. And now just for extra fun and extra challenge, let's go both arms at the same time. You could just go one over the other as you go to cross the midline here. Both up to overhead, internal rotation, reach back behind you, and reverse. A little bit harder to control there. Next, the elbows. Again, squeeze on the tennis balls, palms up, flex the elbow, turn, extend, turn, flex, turn, extend, turn, flex, turn, extend, turn, flex. Keep palms facing you. Extend, turn, flex, turn, extend, turn, flex, turn, extend, turn, flex, turn. Wrists. Let's go one at a time. Right elbow 90 degrees, palm up towards the ceiling, grip on that tennis ball. I kind of like to go thumbless grip, so thumb moves from front of the ball to the side or on top of the fingers, and circles at the wrist here. 2, 3, reverse, 1, 2, 3, other side, 1, 2, 3, reverse, 1, 2, 3. Next, the hip. So this will be good since we're going over the hip today. Good to have support on some sort of object like the wall or a door frame, or you could also have a broomstick here. Let's go left over right, flex the hip. So flexion is the act of closing this angle between the thigh and your pelvis. Then open up. Hopefully I have enough room with this bar behind me. Internal rotation. Come back to meet the other knee. Reverse. This is hip extension. Abduction. External rotation to bring that foot across and down. Number 2. My hip flexion is really not very good, I think. And again. At least my active hip flexion is not great. One more. Across. Lift the knee. Open it out. Internal rotation. Bring it back to meet the other knee. Reverse. Other side. Did I go backwards? I don't even know. Maybe I just ended it right there. All right. Other side, right over left. Flex, open, internal rotation, back and around, reverse. And number 3. I'm really looking forward to this work. Initial work in 90-90 today. Really haven't trained the hips much. Okay, so here we go. For the knee, again, you could support yourself or you could just stand freely, that's fine. Go up on the right toes, drop the heel in, flex, heel out, extend until the toes touch, heel in, bend, out, extend, in, bend, out, extend. Now reversing, heel stays out, bend, in, extend, out, bend, in, extend, out, bend, in, extend. And the ankle, just extend that right foot forward and lock the knee. 3 ankle cars in each direction. Right, and left side. Up on the left toes, ankle in, flex, ankle out, extend, ankle in, flex, out, extend, in, flex, out, extend. Keep the ankle out, flex, in, extend, out, flex, in, extend, out, flex, in, extend. And just another look at the ankle cars. Straight leg, circles down at the ankle, and reverse. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we're going to kind of be changing positions a lot between being on the ground, being seated, standing, etc. So don't get married to being on the floor here. So the first thing we're going to start with is a seated hip capsule car. Capsule cars are just rotations in the joint, not really full movement. Oh man, it is hot in here. So you're expressing internal and external rotation. So when we talked about capsular cars with the shoulder, we talked about being here, externally rotating, internally rotating, external, internal. We're going to do the same with the hip here. I like to just kind of let my non-working leg hang out wherever is most comfortable. You're going to hook under the thigh, similar to doing a knee car, but you're not going to lock this in place. So you're just holding it here, and then you're going to spin that heel in. So when the heel comes in, this is external rotation. As the heel goes out, that's internal rotation. So I like to sit back a little bit. You don't necessarily want to be too crunched up, but sit back, either get that arm or interlock your hands under the thigh. And let's do 10 capsule cars. External rotation, internal. I know that gets confusing sometimes. 2, 2. Keep that 90-degree bend. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. All right, now we're about halfway. So take your hand away. Let's see how much control we have without the hands. 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, and 10. Whoo, tough. Okay, other side. Same thing. First grab underneath. External rotation, internal. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. And without, again, I'm just putting my hands back. You could be seated on the floor. I'm just using this box because it's helpful to have this extra room here. Here we go. 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. All right. So capsule cars just address condition of the joint capsule itself. Really, really effective way to just get healthy movement into the joint capsule. My brother, when he and I were talking about this, he positioned that as just spinning joints. And he's totally right. So you want to attack the elbow capsule. Don't worry about bending and extending the elbow. Just twist right where it is. And you could do this with all sorts of different joints. So really cool stuff. Let's go from here, get back up off the floor to a standing position. So we're going to train standing hip flexion today in a couple different ways. We're going to train passive range holds and then potentially standing passive range liftoffs, which I think will be really cool. So passive range hold, it doesn't really matter exactly where you are. If you can fully immobilize the spine, that's fantastic. In this situation, I would do that by getting all the way up against this column here. So you could get all the way up against the side of your door frame, and then that allows you to train this without too much movement from the rest of your body. So that's what I'm going to do. My toes will go up just to get me a little closer here. And it's always nice to get hit in the head with the ring. All right. So now my body is pretty much fixed to this surface. I got my knee, my hip, my chest, my head connected here. We're going to raise this up as high as is comfortable and then let go and hold for 5. And grab it, and again raise it up and hold for 5, 2, 4, 5. Relax and lift it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And little break. Let's go to the other side. Hopefully I can do this with the plant right here. Get nice and close. My mic's not really in the best spot for that. All right, so now on your right side, lift that leg up, slide the hand off, hold for 5, 4, 5. Relax for a moment, and again, lift it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. And again, lift it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. All right, not easy. Next, what I want to do, now I'm doing this with a squat rack, so this is really a great tool for all this stuff. But if you're doing this at home, you might need a chair or some yoga blocks or a bench or something that you can get under your foot. But what I want to know for passive range liftoffs, and we're just setting it up right now. We're going to do one more round of holds and then go to the liftoffs. But I want to know roughly where my end hip flexion is, and I'm going to use this, the catch bar or the J hook, as a platform for my foot. So in this situation, it looks like I can get to about this hole. So I'm going to go, I want to target this one right below it, and it looks like that's going to be right in the right spot. So let's go ahead and count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hole number 7. And we'll see if this side ends up being the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It may, hopefully I didn't lose my camera. I think the power just flickered. Both sides may not be the same, and that's totally fine. So this time I'm going to do unblocked hip flexion passive range holds, just so you can get a better idea of what's going on. So in this case, instead of getting my whole body against the rack, I'm just going to hold on. We're going to lift this knee up as high as we can, slide the hand away and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's alternate sides here. Lift, slide the hand away, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if I can get it higher with both hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to teach you guys a trick, just if you're interested. Hopefully there's no spider friends in my dowel here. Looks like we're good to go. Just some dust on the end there. Or spider eggs, I don't know. So here's the trick. You can usually get a little more hip flexion if you use a dowel to lift this knee up. So lift it up really high, start squeezing it up and away from the dowel, and then just drop it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. Other side, ouch. And here we go, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so a couple different tactics there to execute passive range holds for hip flexion. Now, let's go to lift-offs. For the lift-off, you need your foot to go on this little platform. Again, you may be using a different object at home. So I'm going to try to get my foot on here. And now this is where I'm going to train from. So the objective is to lift my foot off of, I'm going to use a towel just because it's a little spiky. Lift my foot off of this little platform. So the way you figure this out is where's the highest point that you can lift that foot to, and then set up a platform a little bit lower so you can actually have some range to move through. Now we'll see what happens when I actually try to move. So we're going to try to get 5 here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what you're looking for there is just a slight disconnect from that platform or from that surface. So you don't need to lift off crazy high distance. The objective is to just disconnect from it. So other side. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So we'll get one more set of hip flexion, and then we're going to move to hip extension. Whew. Man, it is hot. I really hope that my video didn't cut off. It's still recording on the camera, it looks like, but the power did go out. I don't know if you guys saw that split second. Okay, here we go. Same thing as before. 5 lift-offs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side. This is where, again, you know, we got a couple of you guys who have a squat rack and don't have barbell and weights. The squat rack is really, really helpful, even if you're not using barbells or doing barbell training. So here we go. 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, just some food for thought. We did all of that with bent knees. So you could also train hip flexion, passive range liftoffs and holds in a straight knee position, which for most people will be much, much more difficult. And again, I recommend using the dowel for that. You just take the dowel underneath your leg, lift your leg up, and take it away to train passive range holds. So in fact, why don't we just try that? We'll try 1 set, just to finish it off, of passive range holds with the dowel, so you can see what that looks like, all right? So I'll demo at about 45 degrees. I'm gonna take the dowel, I'm gonna bring my leg up. That's about as high as I can go. Take the dowel away. 4, 5. All right, so very different. Clearly, I cannot get that knee as high up in this scenario, but just another way to train that. Probably the flexion strength that we lack the most is straight leg hip flexion. So just some food for thought. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. All right. So next, we're going to take a position on the floor in quadruped and look at hip extension. That is quite refreshing. All right. Then we get into the fan favorites, working in 90-90. So on the floor, in quadruped, we're going to train a position called collapsed quadruped. If you can't do this, what you need is a stool or an ottoman of some sort that will allow you to lay flat on this object and hang one leg off the side. So I guess I could kind of demo that for you. Let me try. So this is if you cannot do deep knee flexion like this. So if you can't bend your knee like this, then you may want to consider trying an option that looks closer to what I'm doing here. So I'm going to get my stomach on this box. My non-working leg, my left leg, is kind of hanging off the side, and my working leg, my right leg, is going to go straight back, or I can bend the knee, and I would just need to get some sort of object underneath. So, I mean, screw it. Maybe we'll just do it from this position today, and we'll see if you guys have the right equipment for this. So grab 2 yoga blocks. It looks like my knee was right here, since there's a nice sweat print there. So, so same as before, you want your hips right on the edge of this box. Don't crush your microphone here. So hips on the edge of the box, non-working leg down to the side, grabbing on. We're going to work with the knee bent right now. So deep breath in, bend the knee. These will be passive range liftoffs. So lift your knee up off the block. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty high, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to do the other side now. Same thing. Hopefully that'll be okay over here. This is actually the best setup that that I have done for hip extension. The box is 1,000,000 times more effective than the floor, personally, for me. So this will be good. You guys can kind of see it from the other side. So I'm all wrapped up on this box. Deep breath in, knee is bent, lift off. And one more. All right. Now, tough to find passive range holds in this position because you would have to somehow slide that box out from under. You might be able to get it with a strap, but we'll just keep training the lift off. Now, it was evident that I could move a lot. So what that means is I need to create a more challenging top end position so that I'm just separating from that object. So I think, let's see, this is going to increase it by like 2 inches. This would increase it by like 6 inches. So if we really want to get crazy, let's try that and we'll see what happens, okay? So this is going to be pretty high up now. Everything is the same. You can kind of set up with your leg out to the side here and whoops, with your working leg out to the side, and that should give you enough room to come up and over the object. So here we go. All right, this looks like it's going to be tougher. Deep breath in and lift off. 1, 2. I'm going to put my face in contact with the box, so I won't be able to count them from here, but I think you guys can count. Here we go. And I guess if you wanted to, you could fully flex the knee and flex the foot, and we'll just try 1 rep that way. And there you have it. All right, so that seemed to be a much more challenging position for hip extension. Let's slide that over, get the other leg, and then we're going to go to rotation, internal and external rotation. This is great, man. Just lay on the box. All right. Okay, so bend the knee, out, up, and over. Okay, here we go. Same thing, I'm going to put my face on the box, so won't be able to count these out for you. One more. And just for fun, let's try a hover where we move from inside the block up and over it to outside the block. I don't know if I have enough room here, but we'll try. Here we go. Last one. Ooh. All right. That was pretty tough. I'm actually really excited about that position and that setup. That really seemed to be super effective. So let's now move to 90-90 and work internal and external rotation. And then we'll see where we're at on time. I know this particular memory card doesn't have too much left today, so take a little water break and then we'll work on 90-90, my favorite position personally. All right, here we go. So 90-90 setup. You can start in butterfly, usually the easiest position to get oriented from. Pick up your left foot, drop your left knee where your left foot was, kick the right foot out and away from the knee, and then look down at your legs, and what you want is a 90-degree angle between the thighs and a 90-degree angle at both knees. So that's where the 90-90 terminology comes from. I'm just going to put a little pad under my ankle because I am a wimp and it hurts on the floor here. Now, what you have is one leg that is externally rotated, this lead leg, and you have the trail leg, which is internally rotated. From here, we can train both of those positions. You could train passive range holds, you could train passive range liftoffs, etc. What we're going to do today is train pails rails, fundamental work for this position. So what you want here is a rotational intention and a rotational torque. So it's not about pushing the whole leg down into the ground. It's about pushing the ankle as if the knee were fixed and you're trying to swing the ankle underneath the knee, okay? So what we want to do here is get a good stretch on the back of this right hip. So to do that, we turn our chest in line roughly with the knee, the right knee, lift the chest up and then reach it out and over the knee. That's going to give you a stretch in the back of the right hip. Then from here, now normally you would sit here for a while and just let that stretch relax, but again, this is a conceptual class, so we're just going to go right into the contractions. So when you're ready, start driving the right ankle down into the floor, ramping up to your safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Now imagine trying to lift that ankle. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to switch. So we're going to go back and forth between these high efforts. So now internal rotation. Turn your chest back towards that left knee. And same thing, drive that left ankle into the ground. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 10, and now try to lift that left ankle. 4, 3, 2, 1. Return attention to this externally rotated leg. So chest rotates forward, up and out. Gives us stretch in the back of the right hip. And again, drive ankle down. If you grab onto this foot and try to pick it up and then work against that, that force, you'll feel much more stuff tensing and working in the hip. So it's as if I'm trying to pick my foot up off the ground and I'm using the muscles of my hip to drive it into the ground. So here we go. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Place your hand on top, press down, and pull your foot up against it for 5, This is the regressive contraction, rails contraction. 2, 1. Back to internal rotation. Twist back until you feel a little stretch on the top of the hip. Drive left foot down. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Try to lift that ankle. 4, 3, 2, 1. And one more of each. Find that right hip stretch. Pull up on that right ankle and drive it into the floor. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Press on top of the ankle and pull into your hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Same on this side. Internal rotation. Drive that ankle into the ground. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Try to lift it or make that ankle as light as possible. 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Now, just to briefly go over passive range lifts from this position, we're not going to do them, I just want to demo. External rotation lift-offs. Drop your elbow down if you need to, and then you should be able to lift that foot up ever so slightly. Internal rotation, the more forward you rotate, the more you can pick up that back foot. So if I rotate back towards it, now I can't get it off the ground. Somewhere in here, right there, is where I can begin passive range liftoffs. All right, so let's transition to the other side. I'm just going to check the memory here because I think we're getting really low. Okay, yeah, I can go like 5 more minutes. I don't know why this card is detecting that it's low. There's nothing on it. All right, so beginning with the left hip. Chest is towards that left knee, up and out. Pull on that left ankle and drive down into the ground. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Press down on the ankle and try to pull it up off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn back to the internally rotated hip and drive the ankle down. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Try to lift that ankle or make it light. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the externally rotated leg. Drive ankle into the floor. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1, and try to lift it off the ground. 3, 2, 1. Back to the internally rotated leg. Again, this is not necessarily, we would train these in sequence, repeating efforts on the same leg. I'm just trying to introduce you guys to concepts here. Internal rotation, here we go. Driving right ankle into the floor, safest, greatest effort for 10 seconds. 2, 1, and try to lift. 4, 3, 2, 1. Final set on each, and then that might be it for the day. Maybe. I'd like to do, if I can, just hip abduction. So here we go. External rotation. Driving foot into the ground. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1, and try to pull it off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the internally rotated hip, drive ankle into the ground, safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1, and try to lift. 3, 2, 1. All right. Whew. All right, I have a little bit of memory left. It's like the first time I've ever encountered this problem. All right, so we're going to train hip abduction, which is the splitting of the hips. We're going to train this in the frog position. All right, so this usually is not very fun for most people, but it's great training. So we are going to do the same drill. You're going to be in quadruped. I'm going to have to scoot up so I don't run into the squat rack. You're in quadruped. Start spreading out your knees. I'm going to actually need some padding here for both knees. You may also need some padding. Don't be afraid to do that. I think this is where my knee was. I don't know. I'm not very flexible in frog. All right. There, that's a little better. So you're going to spread your knees out until you feel a stretch, and then you can come down on your forearms. And we're going to do the same thing here, pails, rails, contractions. So drive the knees into the ground, trying to squeeze the ground. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Try to pull the knees apart. 5. Should feel back of the glutes contracting. 4, 3, 2, 1. See if you can get a little bit of a deeper stretch here. And let's do it again. Squeeze the ground. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Try to spread the knees apart. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. Drive knees into the ground. Squeeze. Safest, greatest effort for 10. And then reverse it. Try to pull the knees apart. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. I'm pretty far out actually ahead of my knees here. That's probably why I was able to get so wide. Take your time getting out of that position. All right, well, based on my card capacity, that's about all I got time for today, but really good session exploring most of the basic aspects of the hip. So hip flexion, hip extension, internal and external rotation, pails, rails, passive range lifts, passive range holds, capsular cars. There's so many options here to train the hip, similar to the shoulder, so many different positions that you can be in. So use what you learned today to understand how to move the hip, and then just put the hip in different positions. 90-90, butterfly, deep squat, side lying, standing, so on and so forth. If you guys have any questions, shoot us an email in your weekly form, and we'll address it. We'll make sure you got what you need. Thanks very much. I'll see you guys next time.